Hey, what is up, mortals? It is TheLuckyDerp here, and welcome to the second part of What If Orochimaru Never Attacked the Leaf Village. This part is being re-recorded to keep the audio more in line with the rest of the series. Just want to greet you guys by saying sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. The Kazekage sat with his head in his hands as his advisors sat around him. Yes, to some extent Orochimaru was right. The sand needs work, and we can only hope that the Chunin exams proves to be a sufficient advertisement of our abilities. This is why I want a carrier pigeon sent to the Leaf. Let Kankuro and Tamari know to mitigate any of Gaara's outbursts. We don't want the world thinking that our village is full of unstable monsters. And what if we captured Orochimaru? One of his advisors spoke up. This seemed to pique Kazekage's curiosity. That would require a lot of time and money, even with the intel we gathered about him from our failed joint operation. Yes, Lord Kazekage. But if we were able to, we could show the world that the sand is capable of what the leaf is not. This may even bolster our relationship with the leaf, enough to curry favor in the form of work or money outright. At a long pause, Rasa smirked and leaned back in his chair. I will create a task force, a large one. It is not as if our shinobi have anything else to do. We will search the hideouts we know of, as well as the hidden sound village. Wherever he is, he cannot hide from the sand. Meanwhile, Orochimaru and his servants finished the burdensome task of moving all their allies and experiments from the hideout in the village hidden in the grass. And the southern hideout is in the island off the coast of the Sound of Waves. The experiments needed to be sedated and brought in various barrels. Bringing them across the sea was even more of a headache. Even now, as they stayed in their base in the Land of the Sound, the laboratories were crowded with personnel and unanticipated experiments that needed to be kept in pods or jail cells. Orochimaru was humiliated by this experiment. He had to run with his tail between his legs from a leader that is much weaker than himself. Some of the experiments that he spent years on died on the journey, and others escaped. Even though this was not a real village, over the years Orochimaru began to feel as if he was a Kage, with this village being his responsibility. Much like the legitimate Kage, the success of this village means success for himself and his legacy. Orochimaru knew that the Kazekage had some idea that there was a connection between himself and the village hidden in the sound, but he would not make abandoning it like he had abandoned the other hideouts. If the sand wished to invade him here, he would be ready for a fight, not flee. He believed his forces were enough to repel any attack by the sand. He had the sound for Team Dosu, his old successor Kimimaro, Kabuto, as well as himself and various other experiments that were loyal to him. The 3 years in which he can occupy his current body were coming to an end soon, and there seemed to be no easy way to acquire Sasuke Uchiha. He considered using some of his men to take Sasuke by force, or perhaps taking another body altogether. Back at the Chunin exams, the smoke billowed up from Kiba's smoke bomb as the rest of the shinobi saw Shikamaru jump out of the cloud without his jacket on and created an arm of shadow, stretching in front of himself a few feet. From within, Akamaru, who had already transformed to Kiba, whimpered. Kiba shouted, "What's wrong, Akamaru? He's right here! I can smell him!" At that exact moment, Shikamaru's flash grenade went off on the other side of the smoke. For the briefest second, the light shone through the smoke, casting Kiba's shadow across the room, connecting with Shikamaru's shadow that was reached for the spot he previously left his jacket. Just as planned, when the light grenade went off, Shikamaru also took note of where Akamaru was standing, and as soon as he gained control of Kiba, he ran headfirst in that direction, causing Kiba to do the same, and colliding into Akamaru hard. A loud crunch was heard, following a grunt and soft whimpers, before Shikamaru jumped back with the smoke. When the smoke settled, Shikamaru was standing over Kiba with his kunai drawn. "You should have listened to your dog. Apparently he's much smarter than you," Kiba growled. "Shikamaru Naro wins. Because there are only 2 getting left, the last match will be Naruto Uzumaki versus Kankuro of the Sand," the proctor shouted. Kakashi turned to Naruto to begin giving advice, but Naruto had already jumped down to the first level. Kankuro took his time, walking confidently down the stairs. Tamari leaned forward on the railing and took her attention off to the young man with the ponytail and back to the match at hand. Kankuro was the weakest of the 3 sand ninja at this point, but he was by no means weak. She knew that the hyperactive kid could create real clones, but 10 idiots is not all more intimidating than 1. Kankuro had this for sure, although, strangely enough, she saw that there was a genin standing on the first floor that had not fought yet. He was just standing there watching. His hair was covering up the symbol on his ninja headband, so she couldn't tell where he came from. Maybe he's the Hokage's son or something. She shrugged it off as the proctor introduced the combatants. Let the final match, Naruto Uzumaki versus Kankuro of the Sand, begin. Naruto immediately created 2 clones and rushed at Kankuro, one of them jumping in the air to kick him. He had gathered that his opponent uses a puppet and he carries on his back, so it was probably best to press the attack before the puppet was ready. Kankuro grabbed the 2 on the ground with one motion and scooped them up, almost in a bear hug as one in the air kicked him in the head. The 2 in Kankuro's arms disappeared into smoke, as the one in the air landed and held his shin. Ow, 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 ow! What is this guy made of? A crack formed where Naruto's shin made contact. It spread across his entire face as the shell fell off. It became clear that this Kankuro before him was actually the puppet. As this was the first time Naruto saw it, he felt slightly pangs of fear as it heads toward him. His eyes were dead, but still managed to stare holes into him, and its head was tilted at an odd angle with the mouth agape. Kankuro climbed out of the wraps where he usually stores his puppet. He realized this trick wouldn't work in this fight. He was supposed to grab the opponent with his puppet crow and squeeze the life out of them, but that trick only works by surprise. This match would have to be fought honestly. The wooden puppet crow lunged at Naruto. It became clear that Kankuro was controlled the puppet with the strings of chakra, rattling loudly as its hollowed limbs knocked against one another. Naruto tried to make the shadow clone hand sign, but Crow was too close. He made some space between the 2 of them with a backflip, but Crow was too fast. As he approached, Naruto punched him in the face out of instinct. He did nothing, but it seemed to hurt Naruto's hand. This puppet was clearly not made out of normal wood. Crow took his opportunity and wrapped his arm around Naruto, preventing his hands from coming together. Crow's arm grew longer and tighter like an anaconda as Kankuro shouted, "You should just give up! I could crush a boulder with my puppet. There's no way out." Suddenly, the mysterious genin that no one seemed to recognize jumped into action. The proctor almost interfered until he saw the genin transform back into the clone of Naruto. Just what I would expect from the most notorious prankster in the Leaf, Kakashi began. He reasoned that because no one else would recognize everyone in the room, he could have a shadow clone on standby in case it was needed. The shadow clone hurled a demon wind shuriken, not at Kankuro or Crow, but at the chakra wires. As the wire snapped, Crow collapsed on the ground in a heap. Kankuro tried to create new ones to reach the faraway puppet, but it was too late. Naruto created 2 more clones to join the first clone and himself. Before jumping into the air, the clone all kicked Kankuro in the air, before Naruto kicked Kankuro's head back down to the floor. Naruto Uzumaki Barrage! Kankuro coughed up blood and slumped over unconscious. The proctor stepped toward him, coughing. Naruto Uzumaki is the winner of the final match. The final rounds of the Chunin exam will occur 1 month from now to give you all a chance to recuperate and train. The brackets will be as followed. He held up a piece of paper after scribbling down Naruto's name. The brackets had in the quarterfinals Hinata versus Rock Lee, Neji versus Shigure, Sasuke versus Gaara, and the winner of Shikamaru and Shino are going against Naruto. What a drag. I have 1 more match than everyone else, Shikamaru complained, stretching his arm behind his head. Naruto looked further at the bracket. If I win my first fight, then I go against the winner of Sasuke and Gaara, he thought. Hinata was fairly scared. She saw what Rock Lee could do against Temari. How fast he was. How his sensei said he could take off the weights. And how Lee politely said he didn't need to. That means he's even more powerful than what they all saw. Lee looked up on his bracket to see if he won his first fight, and so did Neji, he would get a chance to finally prove himself against his teammate. He clenched his fists in excitement. This month would be full-on, even more intense training. Shigure looked over at the Hyuga he was meant to fight first and smirked. I hear you're the best Leaf has. For your sake, you better be. I hope you don't think your win against that fat guy impressed me. Neji spoke while he still looked forward. Your entire village has been disdained for failure and mediocrity. Your dreams are nothing more than dreams. An attempt to tell yourself that your pathetic existence has meaning or significance in the world, and that you won't be forgotten by the time your grandchildren are dead. If you get lucky enough to survive the battlefield long enough to have children of your own. These exams are but a stepping stone for me. But you will remember the time before our fight as the last day you truly believed in your dreams. Without a word, Shigure looked forward with everyone else, thoroughly creeped out. There were 2 genin among them who piqued Neji's interest, however. Sasuke and Gaara. It made sense to Neji. Sasuke, the last of his clan, which used to be one of the most powerful clans of all time, and the son of the Kazekage. He would be watching their fight closely. So Gaara first, huh? Sasuke thought. And when I win, Naruto could be next. He turned to leave, stopping next to Naruto. You better win your first match, loser. You're one of the people I want to fight the most. Naruto felt the fire rise up in his stomach, his eyes alight with excitement. The idea of proving everyone wrong by beating Sasuke would be almost perfect. Although, if Sasuke lost his first match, Naruto looked up at his potential opponent to see Gaara's unblinking eyes staring back at him, sending a chill down his spine. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in the story thus far. Hope you enjoyed it. Now there are a few more things I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, we've got a primary channel called We the Celestials. We the Celestials is what we do here already, but their content centered around the crazy world and lore of My Hero Academia. So please check us out over there if you're feeling in the mood for a roller coaster of quirky content. We also have another relative to our channel, Anime Deep Dive. Anime Deep Dive goes deep into the facts and lore of a wide variety of anime. It's sure to expand your weeb knowledge of all kinds of series guaranteed. I'd like to let you all know on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. If you're perhaps interested in what we do here at WTC, then I would like to extend an invitation to join the team. The only caveat being we only accept members 16 and older to join our crew. You can find us on Discord, which you can locate in the description below. Our Discord is all around fantastic place to be, whether you're a fan or looking to join our band of misfits. All you gotta do is hit up the recruitment server and sign up for whatever category of work that fulfills your interest. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video, so thank you all for watching and have a great day.